This is Eric Alexander, Six Arrows Consulting, and I'm excited to reintroduce you to Toby Giddens, friend, entrepreneur here in Amarillo. And you'll want to hear what he's got to say today. Hello, Toby.
Hello, Eric. It's good to be with you again.
Good, thanks. Good. Last month, we did a short video. As a leader here in his business, Toby likes to take different concepts, and when he's working with his team, he'll take important concepts and he'll do this bizarre mashing up of terms. And last time we talked about collabogreat. So if you haven't checked out that video, go back and look at that. That was really good. We've got a different one today. You want to tell us what this time's word is?
Sure. I'll just let the word out of the bag.
Okay, go ahead.
The word is Metriccountability.
Metriccountability.
Yeah.
So it's the kind of accountability they do in Europe where they're not on the...
Right. Rather than the standards, weights and measures.
Standards.
Yeah, right, exactly. No. You can guess what it means, right? Or you can guess the two words.
Go ahead.
Metrics.
Okay.
Metrics,
right.
The way we measure what we do in our businesses, and accountability. So really it's the mashup of those two words.
All right. So explore that a little bit.
Okay. So
how does that resonate with your team?
So last time we met, we talked about collabogreat, right? Mm-hmm. And I kind of fleshed out, we're a teamwork company, right? We're a company that believes that if we're going to do great things, we got to do it together.
Yep.
Well, Metriccountability or metrics are a way that you can measure outcomes, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can measure activities,
right,
that get the outcomes that you want, and you can also measure outcomes with metrics. And so if we want to be good teammates, we got to pay attention. We got to understand what we do around here, how well are we doing it, and how are we, and conversely, how does that mean we're coming through for our teammates, right? So we see we're very big into tracking a lot of those things and holding ourselves accountable a lot of those things. Metrics aren't a stick. When you say the word metrics, sometimes people look at you and they're what do you there's a connotation of distrust sometimes right. when you have numbers out there. So I wanted to make doubly sure that, hey, these aren't born from a lack. These metrics aren't born from lack. They're not born from skepticism on whether or not we're doing what we're doing.
Okay.
Look, this is just we've given ourselves to great work. Let's just measure it. We've got to measure it to get better.
I like that. Measure it to get better. And two things stand out to me. You're measuring activities, but you're also measuring outcomes.
Right.
And that resonates with me. The activity's great, but it's because it drives the outcomes. And if we don't know how we're progressing on what's important to us.
Right.
But then the other thing, you're talking about not using it as a stick. So being a finance person, that happens a lot with finance metrics.
Sure.
Sometimes people feel beat about the head with, well, you didn't make budget and you're
right.
all the stuff, and it can be relevant, but if we approach it as a stick, that's definitely not motivating.
It's not motivating at all. Fear, maybe a fear-based motivation, but
okay, true.
but not the good kind of motivation.
There you go. That's fair.
Not the kind you want, I don't think. Okay, so that's sort of the context for that. So as you remember, we meet every quarter. We get all of our folks in the room every quarter. We talk about what's important, what are the priorities for that quarter, and I usually introduce a word.
No, you usually introduce two words, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
The mashup.
Right, yes. Okay, sorry.
All right.
Maybe a little disingenuous there. It's two words, and then I create something
a word
obvious. Yeah.
Right.
From the both of them. So, Metriccountability is basically this. It's the process by which we hold ourselves accountable to understanding, reviewing, and acting on our core metrics.
Okay.
Those three pieces are very important.
Understanding, reviewing, and acting.
Yep.
On the key metrics.
And that's I wanted to throw a word out there. Make it memorable, make it a little pithy. But those three things are the things I wanted to basically bring to the forefront, right? You got to understand what the number is. You got to understand the math behind it, and then you got to understand why we track it.
That's good.
Right? And then you got to have a discipline to look at it. We look at ours weekly. In individual metrics, we look at in our weekly or bi-weekly one-on-ones. And then team metrics, we have weekly team meetings, and we look at those every week. So they're broken down into weekly bite-sized chunks. And then those are no good unless you act on what you see, right?
Yes.
So all of our metrics have that component to it. Here's what it is. Here's how we calculate it. Here's why we track it. Here's when we review it. And here's what we do about it when it's off track.
And I presume it's not just knowing the formula of how you calculate it, but also directionally, where do we want the number to go?
Oh, yes.
And do we have targets? Are we seeking?
Right.
So it's not just random numbers.
No. They have targets, right? Weekly. Yeah. And you talk about the outcomes and activities, right? If you want an outcome to be true, well, what are the things that you have to do?
What drives it
to make that outcome true? Well, we track some of those things as a metric. And how many do we have to do in a week to make it true, make our monthly number true or our annual number true? We just you back into it, work it backwards.
So you just flanged right up into how I talk about accountability.
Oh, well, that's good.
I just got three elements, and they're going to line right up with what you said.
Okay.
We set clear expectations.
Okay.
What was your first one?
It was understanding.
Understanding. So we set clear expectations. Then we monitor performance. You're reviewing.
There's your reviewing.
And then we take action on any gaps between the expectations and the performance. And that's the taking action. I mean, you're using the very same words there.
That just happens to be Metriccountability.
Metriccountability. How about that? And often when we hear the word accountability, that can feel, maybe we've in our lives experienced negative feedback where accountability can feel really harsh. But when it's practiced well, the performers embrace it. They want to be held accountable. Everybody it helps us move along with our shared objectives. Right. It can be done in an unhealthy way, but when it's done in a healthy way, it's powerful.
Right.
And the metrics are helpful.
They are. Most people like to know if they're doing well.
Right.
And if metrics are created in a way, well, if they're created around their job role, right? And they believe in their job role, they understand how their role connects to the overarching vision of the organization, and they see their purpose in the place, and then those measurements, can show to them how well are they moving along and achieving their purpose. Most people like to know how they're doing.
Yeah.
And if metrics serve that reality,
that's good.
Then it's a good set.
There's a challenge. A lot of the things that are important to us, though, we can't really measure.
Right.
What do we do about those?
That's tough. That's a little tougher. Hopefully you can. Some are, I know. Yeah, there are some that are larger outcomes that aren't necessarily number driven.
Right.
And so
the quality of the interaction with the clients.
Right. You can do customer satisfaction on that, but that's a point in time snapshot. Not always the best way.
The esprit de corps in the company.
Right. We do different internal culture surveys.
Look at what I'm doing. I'm setting you up with.
Yeah.
You're talking about metrics that can give a glimpse.
Right. Absolutely. Okay. They can give a glimpse. And then, some are one of the things that we go for, and this is entirely subjective. It's a gut feel metric, but quality of life. And that can be observed in a lot of different ways, but not really you can't really put a number to it.
Interesting.
So,
well, I'm presuming, just thinking about you as a business person and how y'all have grown and been successful, and thinking about how I'm doing this in my own little one-person shop, I measure the things that are important to me.
Right.
I've got a handful of metrics, and I'm looking at them. Some of them I look at weekly, some of them I'm looking at monthly. There's a gut feel that goes along with it too, but I'm measuring what's important.
Right.
And I found that really powerful, really helpful. And it tells me when I'm off track.
It does tell you when you're off track, but sometimes before you gut feel it, which is which is important.
That's true.
Yeah.
So here's an aspect of accountability that, when I talk about that third element, you're talking about what action do we take? I talk about the difference, the gap between expectations and performance. Often when we think about that, we're thinking about the negative gap, that our performance fell short. But sometimes, and there's appropriate action to take there. Sometimes, though, our performance exceeds the expectation. What do y'all do when that happens?
Well, what we do when that happens, we look at, is our threshold right? Because there is a reality where, when you first roll out a metric, you're trying to measure something, and because for the intent is to get better at it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you surpass the threshold, then we celebrate it. I mean, 3 weeks in a row, that may be a trend, right? 1 week in a row, that's something that we'll still celebrate.
Good job, team.
Good job, team.
Right.
But we're not gonna
move the goal line on that one.
We're not gonna move the goal line on 1 week. But if we see a trend, it's like, hey, maybe we are good enough to stretch ourselves on this one again. In a similar similar vein, metrics feel that sort of feel that way because our minds do go. Then I think the natural human inclination is to go to the negative reasons, or personal negative reasons. So we track a metric here for every individual who is in service, like customer service, right? The 75% productivity is what we call it. So we want, of the 40 hours that we work every week, we want 30 of them to go completely customer facing. Well, if I'm sitting across one of my engineers and we're sitting at like 40% or 50%, and we pull that up, so they're sitting at 20, 25 hours or whatever. Let's just pull up your timesheet. Let's look at it. And the fear is the fear is that I'm not doing my job if I'm not at 75%. But then I look at it and I go, you know what? I had you in way too many meetings the last 3 months. Or, we've got you in too many recurring meetings. There's no way you can hit this metric. So that's an example of, there's, I don't know, if there were 10 reasons why a metric would be off track, one of them is the person's not doing their job. There's so many external realities and different interconnected things that.
Or the person's wife had a baby.
Right.
Or the person had a baby.
Yes, absolutely.
That's going to mess up that'll skew your numbers.
Absolutely. And so, I like to remove a little bit of the anxiety of removing the numbers by saying, hey, look, this is the only reason that these are off isn't because you're not doing something. We're not trying to catch you, in fact, these are out there for us to learn how to redeploy all facets of the things around you that affect you and your team. I mean, we've been in a season before where we have way too many internal meetings. We're trying to figure some things out, but you can't create time.
Right.
You got to rob it from somewhere. And so the metrics tell us how much are we taking,
right, and
for how long should we take it. And
a couple things there that stand out to me. The data by itself, unless we look at the context and I think there's kind of a value continuum. The data plus context gives us information.
Right.
The information plus implications and context and the underlying root causes gives us insights. Right. If you just take the data and beat them over the head with it, it could be your numbers were low last week because y'all had a baby, or I had you in training, you were sharpening your saw, you were making your tools stronger for the future. This was not a bad week, this was an investment in the future.
Right.
I mean, it can be different reasons. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm also glad to hear you celebrate too. It's really easy for us to, I do this. My expectations for myself and my team are high, and they exceed expectations, and that's just what I expect, and I tend not to always appreciate and celebrate appropriately. So that's when I need regular reminders to do that.
Yeah, and a metric can't just feel like, well, congratulations, you just did your job.
That's right. Which is to be amazing every day.
Right, exactly.
Well, we could keep talking about this, Toby. Thanks so much. Anything you want to add?
I think I said it all.
Okay.
You asked great questions.
Okay, very good. Well, thanks for taking time for this.
Absolutely.
Lots of good stuff here. Thanks for listening. This is a test.
This is a test.
Let's see how this one turns out.
I was thinking there's so much pressure to do something.
Are you ready? No, it's too late. All right.